How's it going, everyone? It's Sam. Today I'm going to have with me Connor Kenny. He's someone that lives outside the US, but we're going to be talking about what Trump means to Bitcoin. There are a lot of people saying that if Trump wins, that we're going to see Bitcoin's price go up exponentially. You know, whatever your price target is, multiply it by 2 or multiply it by 5, multiply it by 10. Nothing is priced in, like all that stuff. So I want to break down what is actually going to happen. And also, he gave 72 hours. He talked about a major event that's happening in 72 hours. There's real reason behind it, so don't hate me in the title. So we're going to talk about that. Before we get started, hit subscribe. I'm going to leave Connor's channel underneath the video as a top link. He is right under 200,000 subscribers. He really wants to hit it. So if you want to go see what he's doing, he just nailed a trade. Like a perfect trade, made a ton of money on that. He talks about that kind of stuff on his channel. We're going to talk about it in this video too. So go subscribe to him. There's also a place to trade that I'll leave linked underneath the video as well, which is Margex. Of course, always make sure that you know what you're doing when you're trading. But if you want a platform, this is a really cool platform because it allows you to use different forms of collateral. Like on Ethereum, I can trade Ethereum by using Solana as a collateral. I can use USDT. I can use Bitcoin. This offers a lot of functionality, a lot of options that other exchanges don't have, and they're doing an airdrop. So just with that link, hit join now, set up an account, check their terms and conditions, and you can start trading. There's also a link to CoinW as well, and to WEEX. Those are two other platforms that have some airdrops going on right now, but let's get back into the content of the video. Connor, thank you so much for coming back on the channel. Good to have you here.
No worries, man. I'm about 150 subscribers away from the old 200,000, so I can get a little bit closer to you. So yeah, I appreciate any help,
Yeah, definitely. We'll put his link underneath the video, the top link, so that you can go subscribe to him. Also, if you haven't subscribed to my channel, we're closing in on 300,000. So
no, don't subscribe to him. Unsubscribe from Sam and subscribe to me.
Perfect. Yeah, let's do that for this video. Okay, Connor, let's ask though. Just last video, or one of the last videos you had, you said we have 72 hours. People hate when you give time limits, but maybe you can tell us why we have 72 hours. What's happening?
Yeah, a lot of people in that video also hated me saying it, but I think a lot of people who comment on our videos don't actually watch the videos. So we actually appreciate each and every one of you who are actually watching the video right now. It's awesome. 72 hours from when I made that video, about 3 days, until the Ethereum ETF is finally launched. Now, there's a lot. There's two thoughts here. We could have a buy the rumor, sell the news event, or we could have not really buy the rumor because we're not even at where we were, you know, a couple of weeks ago for Ethereum, and actually just pump a lot from the news event happening. Now, for me, the way I tackle a situation where it's kind of a 50-50 in my eyes. We don't know what's going to happen, right? We really don't know. The way I tackle it is I have my short term and I have my long term. My long-term Ethereum bag, which is my second largest position behind Bitcoin, I probably won't touch. I'll start scaling out of that when I feel like we're in proper euphoria mode. I think Ethereum has much more space for the upside. But my short-term positions that I actually got in, I was very thankful we got the huge pullback in Ethereum that we did, because I opened a $140,000 position, I think, on Ethereum, and I've been slowly taking the money out of that. And I actually did it with 100x long. So yeah, there's with leverage and margin, right? There's two ways you can go about it. You can do what I normally recommend for a longer term hold for something that you think will go up in, you know, the longer term, a longer swing trade, maybe a week, maybe 2 weeks, maybe a month, is low leverage, but you want a high amount, right? The highest amount you can get with the lowest leverage. That way you're just getting more bang for your buck. You know, if you have $1,000, you can get $3,000 of Bitcoin with 3x, which is a decent amount, right? But then there's another side of the coin where you're kind of taking a leveraged bet on the market. When we have outsized pushes downwards, I like to take leveraged bets on the market, right? So I put in what, $1,400? My bet I placed was $1,400, 100x. I think we've timed the bottom, and I caught it. I caught it perfectly. Now, I do want to say I'm not some genius. I did the same thing with Solana, $100,000 position, and it took me 3 attempts So I did $100,000 on 100x. I lost the first one. I got stopped out. I lost the second one. I got stopped out. And on the third one, I caught it, right? So it cost me $3,000, but we made, I think, about $13,000 or $14,000 overall. So those are bets that I'm willing to take. So I'm not out here telling anyone to use 100x leverage for every trade. Definitely not. But when you see moments that you guys, after a long time in the market, realize is opportunity, for me, it's when the market is unreasonably scared. That's when I like to take these bets, right? So when the market is unreasonably scared, I take these sorts of bets. By all means, don't be trading with 100x leverage for every trade, right?
Yeah, and I mean, when you look at the Ethereum chart too, it double bottomed like perfectly on the daily. Like you couldn't have gone a better. I mean, I think it's within literally $1 from what I can see, it to maybe $2 where it double bottom. So it worked out perfectly. It was right above $2,800 too. So that's a psychological level around $100 mark. So yeah, that's awesome that you were able to nail that. A lot of people do get wrecked with 100x. I am the other kind of trader that you talked about, like low leverage. When we're near bottoms, I'll put in a 3x, and I know that we have like 3 or 4 more levels that we can go through before I get stopped out. But obviously there are, 10x's, 20x's.
But I also did the same trade. It was at a slightly lower point. I had the same trade on a 5x. So I had that open, and I actually got into that, funnily enough, a very similar point, but just before the Ethereum ETF was announced. So I got into it, and I just held it the whole way up. Once we got near the highs, when I realized we were a little bit overblown, I took a little bit of profit out. I think it was a $20,000 position, and I took out $5,000. So I banked 25% of the profit. We then went all the way back down, right? All the way down to 2,800. It was actually slightly out of profit. It was slightly in a loss, but of course I banked the profit. So we're still technically in the gains. Then I just held it. And as we pushed up, I actually just closed that position today. So that was the example that I gave you, a very long-term, low-leverage trade. And the great thing about this is it gives you the opportunity to not feel FOMO, right? Because I have my short-term leverage open. And every time, like we're having today, we're right at resistance again at the 3,500. And when that happens, from my leverage plays, I get to just, yes, I'll bank some profits. I'll bank some profits. But all the while, I just leave my normal spot bags completely open, and I just let them run. And that way, I don't feel FOMO in case we push down. Now, this is like reverse FOMO, right? Like when the market pushes up to 3,500 and then pulls back again, you feel FOMO. You're like, just missed out on all of that money I could have had. So you get to play both sides of the coin, spot market, leverage market. And I think they work hand in hand. But again, please only do it once you've been in the market a little bit of time and you actually understand the ebbs and flows, right? In the fear that I opened that 100x, I didn't feel fear. I felt excitement. I was like, yes, this is another moment for me to do a completely ridiculous bet here. And it paid off once again. So I'm not going anywhere. I'm just plugging back in my computer.
Yeah. Connor has talked about a lot of this on his channel. Like he makes videos every day just like I do. So he talks about these trades. If you want to go follow him, you might see it an hour or two after he does it, or you can even follow like his Patreon and stuff and see more real-time stuff. Connor, a lot of people have been posting on social media, especially over the last week with some of the political events that happened, talking about how if Trump becomes president, Bitcoin, take your price target and triple it. Like I've seen a handful of influencers saying that. And I'm curious your thoughts on that. Like, obviously we don't know if for sure if Trump's going to become president. We don't even know if Biden's going to run against him. It seems pretty likely that at this point, like from the betting markets and from polls, that Trump will become president. Even I've talked to some Democrats recently. They're like, hey, he's not the same person that he seemed to be 4 years ago, 8 years ago. Like he's not saying horrible things. He's more reserved. So I think he's getting some people on the other side of the aisle. But I'm curious what your thoughts are on what people are saying, like double everything, triple everything. You have no idea where Bitcoin's going to be if he becomes president.
I'm very on the fence about talking too much about politics. Of course, it's a very polarizing topic. There's no arguing that Trump is bullish for Bitcoin and Trump is bullish for Bitcoin. There's no arguing. Sorry, did I say crypto first? Crypto and Bitcoin, right? There's no arguing that. And I think the state of Western politics is absolutely in a shambles. If we use the American, what's going on right now, you have Trump vs Biden, which as an outsider, as a not American, you're like, wait, these are the options? Don't get me wrong, England is just as bad, if not worse. But like, you've got Biden who can't see, he's not stringing together proper sentences. I don't know if that's just the outside media pushing that agenda or it's actually happening. But he's 85, 86. This is someone's granddad running a massive country. Like, it doesn't make sense to me. I feel like people running countries should be like 50. They should have life experience, but they should also be young enough to understand what's going on. But I don't want to get too much into it. Trump is old as well, but it's all just crazy, right? He's an ex-reality TV star. But what I do like about Trump is he obviously understands that you have to rally the troops, right? Excuse the phrase. And what he's doing as an outside perspective is, I'm not talking about any of the other agendas, right? Nothing else. So discount everything else that he's doing. He's seen Bitcoin as a strong community. We talk about strong community coins all the time, but in the general term of it, he's seen Bitcoin, crypto, strong community. How can I tap in to a relatively large, I'm sure you know the numbers, but a relatively large number of people? Do you know the voting numbers of people, like the American crypto holders?
I've heard various numbers, but I think probably around 30 to 50 million, especially with the ETFs.
Yeah, so exactly. So he's seen Biden's administration very clearly against crypto. Whatever reason that is, very clearly against it, which is stupid, right? It doesn't make any sense. So he's seen that, and he's seen that as an opportunity, and I don't blame him. You would. So he's honed in on a community. He's giving us what we want. So why wouldn't people vote for him? They want to vote what's going to benefit their pocket, right? So when it comes to a price prediction, I don't like to give price predictions, but Trump getting into power will have an effect, positive, in my opinion, on Bitcoin. However, I think Bitcoin will overtake 100K no matter what. I think that's written in the stars. I also believe that it's possible that Bitcoin goes to $1 million. So I'd always want to have at least 1, 2, 3 Bitcoin that I hold forever, right? I just want to hold this just in case that happens. And I don't really think it matters who's in power for that to happen. If someone got in power who was completely against Bitcoin and they closed it down for America, yes, it might mean we go into the dark ages for Bitcoin and we go back down to 15K and 10K and everyone thinks it's dead. And then just millionaires, rich people and retail who have a brain cell who are investing from all the other countries in the world will just buy it. Do you know what I mean? So it's like Trump getting in power will be beneficial, and it will probably speed up the rate in which Bitcoin rises. But is it the be all and end all? No. I think it's inevitable, as long as someone doesn't figure out how to hack it, which so far is impossible. As long as quantum computing doesn't come out and hack it or figure out, which is so far impossible. And my dad's actually a cybersecurity expert per se, and I've spoken to him in depth about that idea of things, and so far it's just an idea. No one knows if that's going to happen. So quantum computing, all of the problems that we have for Bitcoin, as long as that doesn't happen, I think 100K, 200K, my general price target is the market cap of gold. I believe, and it might be a naive belief, but I believe that Bitcoin is worth what gold is worth. It's a store of value in my eyes, and it's something that we can rely on in times of economic uncertainty. I don't think the internet is going anywhere, therefore I don't think Bitcoin's going anywhere. So 100K short term, I think Bitcoin has no doubt it's going to break that. I think it's about 450K for gold's market cap. I think that's going to happen. I think that's inevitable. And then $1 million one day is definitely possible. These are very, very long-term price targets, and there's no guarantees, but I think Bitcoin has no problem going above 100K, and it probably happens faster if Trump gets in power.
That all makes sense. Something interesting too, I know people often compare Bitcoin to gold. People sometimes forget too, gold goes up. Like I think last cycle, depending on when you were in the cycle, like Bitcoin would have been 450 at the end of the cycle. I think maybe 600,000 if it hits gold market cap. Gold's at new all-time highs. So actually, I just reran the math, and I think it's around $800,000 if it hits the same market cap now,
Wow.
which is crazy. I mean, even if it just gets a percentage, right? If Bitcoin is undervalued relatively to gold, that's bullish. And I think you pointed at something interesting too. Like there are a lot of people that will vote for Trump now because he is bullish on something that helps their pocketbooks. Like there are so many people that feel so strongly about Bitcoin too. It's like a religion almost. I know we've seen it. Sometimes it's a little bit toxic even, but there's so many people that feel so strongly about their one issue voters. They feel like that is freedom, is Bitcoin. And obviously, like there's been a lot of news that Trump's been getting large donations from Bitcoiners. Like that's huge for campaigns too. And there's something even yesterday that came out that said that Trump was having like a private event, a private dinner at the Bitcoin Nashville event, and it was almost $1 million a ticket, and then $60,000 per photo. So like you tap a very wealthy group of individuals that feel very strongly they're one issue voters that have an asset too that continues to appreciate. So I mean, if you help them do well, they will continue to give you more money most likely. So yeah, it's interesting to take a look at all that. I appreciate your thoughts on that too. I like getting outside perspectives because obviously you've never like lived in America full time. So it's interesting to see what people think outside of your normal, group of people that you run into on the street or in your family. Connor, we're going to have your link as a top link. So that way people can go follow you, get you over 200,000. I think that's the least we can do for having you on the channel so many times. Also, if you are someone that wants to trade after hearing about Connor, there's a link to Margex and to CoinW underneath the video. There's also a link to WEEX. All of those platforms have big airdrops going on right now. WEEX is capped out, so they're only the first 50 people that can get the airdrop of 100 USDT. The other ones are unlimited pretty much. So definitely check those out. Connor, we'll have to have you on again. Any closing thoughts?
Stay bullish, guys. Just like I think we were talking about in the pits of that bear market, or not bear market, but short-term little downside we had. You just got to zoom out and you got to chill out and you got to just, this is what happens. Like when you manage to make it through those little blips, pullbacks, those scary moments, you get to see this. And remember, guys, that for example, if you bought Bitcoin at 55K or 53K or wherever it went, Ethereum, wherever it went, Solana, if you bought in those moments of panic, you can actually right now have made up for the fact that we're lower than all-time high, right? If you had bought at all-time highs, that was where you got into the market, and then we saw the market drop and plummet. If you had bought at the bottom and you averaged your position right now, you would have been break even. So even if you didn't do it, don't beat yourself up. Me and Sam did exactly the same thing, 5 years ago. It's no worries. It's exactly how you learn in the market. But learn from these mistakes and then, reap the rewards.
Yeah, great points. I mean, if you take where we were just on July 4 to 16 days ago, that was a $13,000 move. You do that again, we're right at 80,000. So exactly. It's a fun time to be around the crypto market. Connor, thanks so much for coming back on the channel. We'll see y'all in the next one. Bye.
Bye.